Welcome back. You're watching Visions. I'm Helen Roshkut and our special guest today is Judith Field. Welcome back to the program, Judith.
It's lovely to be here.
So, Judith, tell us, what are some of the pitfalls or challenges of your business?
I think there are two. When one is offering a service and busy delivering it, you can't build your business. So I can have whole periods where I'm booked virtually every day, 5 days a week, and even in the evenings. And then I get to the end of that period, and if I haven't been planning ahead, then I can have a bit of a lull and quickly scramble to try and find business. And I think the other one is that I love doing my courses. I love the presenting and the empowering, and there's a lot of administration, a lot of left brain stuff, which I'm not really good on the details, which is why Phil has come in as an associate, because he's very good on those follow-through detail stuff as well as presenting.
Yeah, we talked a little bit before about what was really rewarding for you, and that was seeing people have that confidence to get up and speak. Anything else you'd like to add to that about what makes your work very rewarding?
I think it's the number of people that I can now affect. When I was in the classroom, I'd be lucky if I could affect 60 kids a year, or maybe 90, depending on how many classes. Now, you know, it can be hundreds and hundreds. Every school I go into, every business I go into, every week it's new people. So now it's thousands of people, and that vision of just reaching more and more people in country Victoria. I'm willing to travel to businesses, I'm willing to travel to schools. I'm going out to Eaglehawk in a couple of weeks, which is a small school in rural Victoria. Castlemaine has a business there which I go to. So it's just fantastic to think that there are thousands and thousands of people, and that can just be multiplied.
Yeah, so having made that change from schools to the business that you're doing now, having a lot wider scope and much more impact. So what's something that can be quite disappointing in the type of work that you do?
Yeah, good question. I think that the two disappointments that come to mind are people that don't see the need for it. They put confident speaking fairly down low in the scale of priorities. Now, I don't know whether you know this, but other than a skill in whatever you can do, like music, computers, whatever it is, the most important skill you can have in life is to be confident when you speak. Yes. And that affects your promotion, it affects your relationships in family, and most of all, it affects your personal self-esteem, that you have the right to speak. So when people don't see that, I find that very disappointing. And I suppose the other thing too is that people think that they should get that and not have to pay much, and I think that's a pity, because it's a game that is not up there with people's top priorities when they think about business, and yet it is. And we know that a lot of marriages fail through lack of communication. Yes. And for me, public speaking isn't just that out on the stage, it's how we speak all the time.
That's right, and we've talked about this before, how getting back to relationships, whether it's a business relationship or a personal relationship, it's a people's game. You need to be able to effectively communicate.
Yes.
And it's not just using words, is it, Judith?
And in fact, it isn't just using words, it's using your body, it's using your voice, and it's also listening. It's watching the people that you're talking to and tapping into them. And it's not about you when you're speaking. That's one of my most important messages. A lot of people are scared about that voice in their head that doesn't give them permission. And I say, but it's not about you. It's about what you're trying to tell your audience, what you're passionate about. That's my vision, that we all have things that we want to share, but if we are too focused on what do they think of me, it's not going to work.
That's right. So tell us, what programs have you got coming up in the near future where people can learn this?
Yeah, quite a few programs. There's the mini courses in Elstonwick and in Templestowe, and then I've got a public one in the CBD in September, just the beginning of September, and also just one-on-ones. So anyone who wants to check it out can just do a search, and just even Public Speaking Melbourne, they'll find me if they want to do something about it.
And so what makes your courses different from other public speaking courses?
Yeah, that's a good question, because there are lots of people who are doing this. I think three things really distinguish mine and Phil's from anybody else's. One is, I think, the way that we use a lot of humour. Lots of tricks, lots of learning, standing up there, practical exercises. Secondly, the repertoire of getting people, you teach a bit and then you get them to put it into practice. You teach something else and then there's an exercise. So, for example, when we teach them voice variety, we actually get people to stand up and say something like, "You can't make me do it. You can't make me do it. You can't make me do it." So we just take little bites, and for structure we'll get one person to do the beginning, one person to do the middle and elaborate, and one person to do the conclusion. So when they see that there's a whole 80% of it is skills. And I think the third thing is that it moves very quickly. People can't believe how quickly the time goes, because there's something one after the other and then reinforcing what they've done. So it sort of goes from very small demands to bigger demands.
And I believe that having the teaching background is what really helps you to get that message across as well to your participants in your courses.
I agree with that. I am amazed how many skills teachers have. Not just the communication, but the ways that different people learn in different styles. Some people are visual, some people are auditory, some people are kinesthetic. And just to give you an example of the way that I can be really effective, just in May, at the end of May, I ran a whole day conference for the fertility nurses, 58 nurses, and I virtually was out the front the whole day myself. So I took them from just really small steps where they had to just speak at their table amongst themselves, even in twos and then the 7. By the end of the day, each one of those 58 people came out the front and did something.
Oh, phenomenal.
And in front of everybody. And
Overcome
they just
that
did
fear.
it. Yeah, they all did it.
Overcome
and
that
the feedback,
major fear.
they overcame it.
Well,
and they're going to
Judith,
speak at conferences.
oh, well done.
Yeah.
We'll continue after this break.
Lovely.
When we come back, we'll be finding out some hot tips on public speaking. Stay tuned, we'll only be a few minutes.